Hi, my name is Charles Malky, biologist and plant expert and author of Saving the World with the Home Garden. And today we have the honor and privilege of having David, Priscilla, and Priscilla Evelyn Burke of the Fig Hunter with us today. If you visit the Fig Hunter shop, you can find their Fig Hunter apparel as well as hundreds of rare varieties of figs in addition to the common ones. Additionally, you can follow the Fig Hunter on his Instagram page and Facebook page, and all of those links to the Fig Hunter you can find in the video description below. So David and Priscilla Burke of the Fig Hunter, tell us what you guys are about and what the goals are at the Fig Hunter.
Our goal is for everybody to have a fig tree in their house. It's such a remarkable tree. We're fig enthusiasts. We're hobbyists ourselves. But our hobby just kind of exploded. We live on 11 acres in a climate that's pretty close to Fresno, which was the fig capital of California for the longest time. It's a hardy tree. It grows definitely wild right here, and they taste so great. They're very healthy for you. And in this world where processed sugar seems to be mainstream, they're a wonderful replacement for our children that love them, eat them sometimes by the pail.
I mean, they're pretty all-purpose fruit, too. We do a lot with the actual fruit. Salad dressings, barbecue sauces. I do a pickled brine. It's honey and balsamic. So, I mean, it's not just having to eat the fresh fruit, too.
She played around last summer with a fig salsa, because you think of a mango salsa or a peach salsa, it was a fig salsa. And wow. We are still, we have to wait till this season for fresh figs, but doing like a fig pesto or pasta or a pasta salad, which was really, I thought was remarkable.
That's fantastic. And I noticed also when visiting the Fig Hunter shop, they also have available the availability to purchase your figs as a jam as well. Mm-hmm. And those are freshly made on the Burke farm.
Well, I work out of a commercial kitchen up in Redding. It affords us a lot more space.
That's fantastic. But it's so cool that it's being picked by the Burke mm-hmm. family and then turned into jams that it can then be purchased through your store.
Right.
Yes.
Fantastic. So how many varieties of figs do you have in your collection?
Well, that's a question that I would have to ask Priscilla here, because she has been writing them down.
While we have over 1,600 documented finds, we haven't brought all of them to market, obviously. It's kind of weeding out the best ones, but yeah, we've got over 1,600.
Most people don't understand, and we've had a relationship now for several years. Of these 1,600 varieties, and you said that you've got documented, and it's in your name, the Fig Hunter, and I know we already discussed kind of mission, but I think people need to better understand. Maybe the question should have been, what is the Fig Hunter? If you want to explain, like, how did you come across collecting 1,600 figs? Like, that's unheard of.
Well, I grew up on a ranch down in Napa, California. It was Jackson Soda Springs, an old bottling resort. And my grandfather leased the property and raised about 200 head of cattle. There was always fig trees. And at that point in time, as a kid, not knowing any better, you know, because before cell phones at that point in time, but you'd have a map on where these trees were, because when I'd go out and ride my horse, it was always a fun place to stop and take a break, and he's usually near a water source, and just something. I did not realize that I was foraging or hunting for these figs at that point in time. Yeah. There was this set of trees, and I started bringing the fruit home to my kids, and I couldn't believe it. And all of a sudden it was, okay, we've got the property, we've got the space. We were already doing a market garden and growing numerous things, tomatoes, peppers,
squash,
tomatillos, cucumbers for the pickling at the farmer's market. Adding figs to an orchard wasn't much. We already had a nursery license because we were selling starts locally. So something that was hardy and brought such a wonderful memory back. It was just easy.
Yeah.
I started putting dots. I'd drive home from the Bay Area, which is about a 3.5 hour trip.
Yeah, depending on where you're at.
And I'd notice fig trees. And so I'd put a dot on my phone. Okay, I'll come back and check for fruit. And pretty soon that started about 600 locations, and that was roughly in the first year.
So just as the fig has inspired you so much in the childhood memories, for me, of all of the dozens of fruit trees my mom had planted on her property, and her inspiration being my grandfather, Simon, of all of the fruit trees, the fig has always been the one that was the most coveted. Between my parents, grandparents, and even my family being the most delicious, the most nutritious, the most, who cares about the nutritiousness as a kid? Just the flavor. Like, it was the biggest treat of the year was harvesting figs and eating them, not like store-bought figs that are all mushy and gross, but right off the tree. But something I really wanted to share with everyone, and something I really got to learn from you, is people such as Burbank Luther, who most people maybe would recognize him for the Santa Rosa plum. He also, and keep in mind, he passed in, I believe it was 1926, and he also is one of the founders of the plum cut. So it's a plum apricot cross, and then Floyd Zager took it to another level, then propagating somewhere upwards of 40 to 50,000 seedlings every single year just to find out which one are the best 3 or 4 or 5 every year out of 50,000, and you throw the other 40 to 50,000 trees away as he then crosses these delicious, parent trees. Then he would then cross-pollinate to create the next 50,000 seeds that would then get planted, and over the course of 5 to 10 years of sampling, decide which ones are the keepers, and again, just keeping a few and losing the rest. So David, through the fig hunting experience, has identified 1,600 varieties to come up with, all his top 3, top 5, top 10 flavors, which I know last year we shared. I'm going to have you actually share with the audience what your favorite in your collection of now out of 1,600 figs would be. But for those that are interested in a more common variety, those are also available at the Fig Hunter shop. And you want to give some examples of what the common varieties would be. And I like analogizing them to, like in tomatoes, heirloom varieties. And it's not just tomatoes, but other things you grow that are tried and tested over 50 to 100 plus years. And I think the test is about 50 plus years. Categorizes it as an heirloom if it's something that's, purebred and propagated over 50, plus tested years. Then it becomes an heirloom. What are those common varieties of figs that you also have available in the workshop?
So what we have, like right behind us, this is a sequoia. It was produced and bred by UC Riverside. Behind it, we have a Galicia.
So we also still have like the Black Mission, Brown Turkey, Cadota, Peter's Honey. There's a few others.
Well, we were just talking about Luther Burbank, and that man, what amazing to have the forethought to do the genetics back when genetics weren't really a thing.
Absolutely.
But there were some amazing giants in the fig industry that had the forethought to bring them in to California after the gold rush. One of these that many people do not realize was Leland Stanford. He actually funded, after he was governor, one of the great importations of figs. And we're talking thousands and thousands of cuttings he imported from the Mediterranean with all different varieties. It wasn't a single variety. Another giant was John Rock. He had the Niles Nursery and California Nursery in Fremont. And from him was George Senior Roden, which had the Francher Creek Nursery down in Fresno. These two imported actually the Fig Wasp and worked on that. Because of what they've done, we're able to drive around as a family and find new varieties of figs. California is unique. Nowhere else in the United States are you able to do that. And it's just a blast. I mean,
I'm glad you mentioned the Fig Wasp and the whole movement of bringing figs from the Mediterranean to California. Being our climate is comparable, they should succeed. But I remember learning in the history of figs that the movement of figs from the Mediterranean to California initially, for those first 5 years, for those first 10 years or more, they were struggling to get fruit off of their figs. And can you explain a little bit about like why and how they corrected it?
And without the pollinator, the figs that they brought over, at that point in time, the Smyrna figs, because they are the best tasting figs, because they're pollinated. Mm-hmm. When after they brought over the Fig Wasp, all of a sudden we have figs that were producing, but for 20 years they didn't produce. And that was 120 years ago they brought over the Fig Wasp. So where it was an epicenter down in Fresno, in the Bay Area, and even for us locally, it has now bloomed throughout all of California. We can drive over in Fort Bragg and stumble up wild seedling.
Fruiting also, and fruiting.
Yes, and fruiting.
So the Fig Wasp helped turn a lot of these figs that were not fruiting into fruitful trees. However, and I know a lot of people that are watching right now don't live in this warmer belt where the Fig Wasp can thrive. Can they still enjoy planting these fig cuttings and getting to reap the benefit of fruitful figs?
Yes, they can. Because here's some information. And we're not claiming this. You can follow it by many other people. Because the varieties that are prominent here in California are common figs. The grandkids and the great-grandkids have inherited those genes. And
we're finding that more wild seedlings are, in fact, common than not.
Oh, you brought me a shovel.
So I'm gonna second what you just said as well, in the sense that the common figs do not require pollination, do not require the Fig Wasp, and that they can produce delicious, nice figs. However, I know that in my interviews of a lot of experts in figs, that they said that those figs that actually have the Fig Wasp and the cross-pollination between figs and so forth end up creating more delicious, even more delicious figs. They're already going to be delicious, but even better set, better size, and so forth. Like that pollination with the Fig Wasp can enhance even some of these common figs that don't even need a Fig Wasp. So there could be value if you live in one of these zones and the Fig Wasp happens to visit your fig tree.
And what happens too is the Fig Wasp is the key element. Well, one, the capper figs, there are some that are edible, which is pretty cool science, but they house the pollen that's needed to caprify figs, the Smyrna variety, or the San Pedro variety, which is a variety that only has a ripe Brava crop, the first crop, and like Desert King is one of those varieties. Amazing fig, but the main crop does not, outside of fig land or wasp land, called California fig land, it doesn't produce the main crop.
Yes.
The Fig Wasp, the key element was that. Now, those seeds of that black mission are viable. We're in Ohio, and you're growing a black mission fig. You go and plant the seeds, you think like any other fruit or any other tree, hey, I can grow a seedling. No, it's not going to happen. That's what's so special about California. And it's just so amazing that my family and I stumbled onto this. And it's intriguing. So sometimes we come apart trees that you have to contact the owner of properties to find out. One was a phone call I just received. It's obvious there's fig trees. She goes, no, I actually planted them. Now that's pretty wonderful too, because she says, I'm not having as much fruit as I wish I had, what could you do or what could you come recommend? And one, I was talking to her about Ivy organic fertilizer. I said we could fertilize these trees. They're out in front of a storage unit in Corning on a lane called Fig Lane.
How cool.
Mrs. McCready, you know, we could fertilize this stuff. We can help you pruning it. She's never pruned it. We'll encourage new growth. And having, the great thing is they haven't learned how to use cutters yet. I'm scared for the day they start playing with cutters.
That's fine.
We're going to have a lot of cuttings.
For sure. Thousands of them, which I'm going to get to in just a minute.
In the land where we live, 110 temperatures are the norm during the summer. So we struggled with trying to figure a way to keep the bark on our trees. And that's how we first stumbled onto your business, was the whitewash. It's an amazing product. It's organic, which really goes with everything we're doing here. While we are not an organic farm in the sense of a certified organic farm, we are a registered organic farm, and we follow those practices as much as possible. So buying a product that is organic is very important because it's about the next generation and chemicals, and we can talk for hours on this, and leaving a better planet than I've inherited, than my wife has inherited. And these practices and finding a business that also shares these values is really important. I'm so glad to have met you. I mean, it's just...
And thank you, David, and what an honor and a privilege to have gotten to meet you over the last few years, and be looking forward to our future and with our children growing up and making sure that they have a planet that they can inherit that is hopefully better than, you know, the one that we've entered, which is a good one. But hopefully we're going to be able to take it one step forward as we continuously evolve in a way that does make things better. And the reason for the Ivory Organics brand before, you know, and with the first product that we brought to market was to basically take the tar and the latex paint products off or substitute our products in to make sure that as trees grow that we're not contaminating the soil with latex and tar-based products that are designed to last 100 years or more. Instead, you're going back to the traditional ways of whitewashing with ingredients such as, and that are included in the product, that use limestone and mica, which is a clay, and using milk proteins to help with strengthening the bonds and so much more. So that is something that Ivory Organics brand brings to market and helps offer the sunburn protection that latex could offer your plants, but in all organic way, so that whether or not you're a 100% organic gardener or just trying to do the right thing, this is the product that will help protect your plants from damaging summer sunburn and the winter, damaging winter sun scald as well. And thank you again, David, for all of your support again over the years. And next, I'd like to share with everyone that David has brought to the Ivory Organics 5th 2022 free fig cutting giveaway. Over 1,000 cuttings, and these are some of the varieties that he has brought to for all of you that are watching. I'm going to share with you the varieties that he's donated to this purpose of getting figs into your backyard orchards, and these include the Lathrop, or the numbers are 335, Tony's Giant, White Adriatic, numbers 314, the Firehouse, which has an awesome story, the 72, the Carr Powerhouse Mission, or the Fig Hunter number is 135, the Tehama, hopefully I can pronounce this, Tehama Oro de Blanco, number 1210, the Red Bluff Roundup, the Fig Hunter number is 0801, the Corazon de la Bahia, the Fig Hunter number is 0402, and Amon's Citron, which I remember from last year is one of our most popular, but I'm going to wait on you to tell me what are the top 5 varieties. The Fig Hunter 0455, and then the Zoe Star, Fig Hunter number 1063. And I think there's a few other secrets, which, again, I'm going to put the list of all of the Fig Hunter varieties that he contributed that are available for this free fig cutting giveaway. And the participation rules you'll find below this video and the video link below. And now my question to you is, and again, thank you so very much, David and Priscilla, for your generous contributions. My question to you is, which ones are the best tasting and which one are the easiest to root? For those that just really want to have success with one of these varieties and getting the Fig Hunter figs on their property. So let's start off with best tasting. Which ones are your favorite ones you've so far got to sample?
Well, and that's it. It's always a tough one because I love figs. And my beautiful inspiration, my hero next to me, does amazing things with figs. When she puts, you can eat them in a fig form, but she'll slice them and she'll add them with other fruit and salads and stuff. I just love them. Amen Citron is by far that one fig, even like we said last year, that really, I was kicking myself to share. It was like a hidden gem. It's still a great rooting fig, very productive.
Monster fig.
Monster, quarter pound. And that would be one. The other really easy rooting that's just amazing and beautiful. And 335 Lathrop. It's on the side of the road. It just grows. So what I love about your videos is that you do a lot of grafting. And sometimes you need rootstock. So you can use such a fig. It's tasty. It's just a remarkable, it looks like a sunshine or a sunrise. And it's a good size fig, but it's a great rooting. It's a great success story. No matter what soil that we've put it in, from our clay to perlite to vermiculite to just regular garden soil, it seems to root. And that has encouraged, it's great when you don't kill things. So that's one. The other one of the ones that it had been our favorite is the Corazon de la Bahia. And that one is this red fig. It's flat. We've been trialing it for a couple of years now. And it's far away from my house, the mother tree is. And sometimes I miss when it's ripened because I'm working elsewhere in other places. And I really got to sample it, and it's just perfect picking condition this year. And I brought it home, and it is just tastes like strawberries, but it's a complex berry strawberry. It's not just strawberry. It's just so popular. People from the instant that I shared the photo, they have been like, "Hey, we want this," and that's why we wanted to donate it, because even make sure it gets out there. One of our mission statements, if we use a mission statement, is saving the genetics that we find, not only for our collection, but in case something ever happened. We live in a high fire zone. Last year we had 2 fires, one west of us, which I had the opportunity to help out on. The other was to the east of us, which a lot of people have heard about, the Dixie Fire.
Yeah.
If our collection was ever lost, we want to make sure that these wonderful genetics that we've come across are still out there for people to enjoy.
Absolutely.
That's what I love about your being able to share. We were actually sent down 1,521, and I was trying to sneak a little bit more, but we were up processing, cutting, and my wife said no.
Thank you again so much for that generous contribution. And as you said also about getting the genetics out there and ensuring the survivability of it, with Ivory Organics now doing, this is now with 2022, our 5th in the whole month of February, free fig cutting giveaways. We are now getting people that are pruning their figs come late January, early February, and saving all that wood and giving it back to us, labeling it, and making it part of the collection that we're then able to, I don't want to say like recycle, but we're pretty much recycling it back into the program and getting it introduced to another 50 to 100 more homes from that single cutting that once started here at the Ivory Organics location. It's super rewarding, and I get what you say. And when my late grandfather Saman passed, one of the first things I did, again, and I told you earlier about just like the memories and the childhood things and how important the fig was to the family, is when he passed and before the estate was sold, one of the first things I did was take cuttings off that fig tree and made dozens of fig cuttings and made sure each one of his sons and daughters, my mom is one of 8 children, all got fig trees that they got to introduce into their properties, and just be one more thing that we can remember Grandpa by and know that when we're eating his figs, we're remembering his legacy as well.
So that brings me to one point here. Last year, we donated something called TFH, which stands for the Fig Hunter, -315, which was Mendonca's heritage. It was a fig tree that one of our neighbors here, our butcher, Tony Mendonca, had cut down, and we ended up with all these cuttings. I was just in shock when I drove up to his property to visit with him, and he cut down this beautiful fig tree. He goes, I do it every year, and it renews the growth. Well, he also has this large white Adriatic fig tree, and it's huge. I'm not a very small person. My arm span's roughly about 6 feet. So it's good. You can see me in front, and it's a good 4.5 feet wide trunk. That tree was what we donated. That's TFH 314, and it tastes like strawberries. White Adriatics were the fig that they used in California for drying and elsewhere for drying figs, for producing. It's a dessert fig, they consider it. Before they brought in the Calmyras, which we know the Calmyras mostly in Fig Newtons. That's the fig they used. Well, Mr. Tony. Well, Tony, we stopped by there yesterday to drop off a hat because he loves all things figs. And he's about to turn 90. And I told him, hey, we're using this month where we donated some of your cuttings to Ivy Organics. And he was so tickled that he never would have thought, his tree was going out all across the United States. And a piece of what he has loved at 90 years old is being shared with others. Sort of bringing me to tears. It just was he is just so disbelief that people are grateful for yourself. I'm like, no, they really liked it, Tony. Really? I know I like it. And then the other one, 1063, is Zoe Starr, a good friend of mine. His granddaughter passed on. I said daughter. Granddaughter passed on last year. And I was talking with them, and it's a very scary thought. As any parent or grandparent, at a very young age, I just happened to say, this is what I'd love to do. The next remarkable fig that we stumble upon, I would like it to name it in her memory. And no sooner than I said that, we known about this tree, because sometimes we find the locations in the winter times. We go back and follow up to see if it has good fruit. We walked up, and it's green with this brown star, 5-point star on the bottom. Priscilla can tell a little bit about the flavor because she's the one that with the excellent palate.
It's like biting into like warm brown sugar. Like if you ever, like on oatmeal, when you put like the brown sugar while it's still hot and it like melts and it's like that kind of like liquidy, it's like literally biting into that.
Wow.
And we get to share that. And that's something, it's not a very big tree, so still taking a few cuttings off of it as we can, but we want to share that not only with Zoe's family, who we're growing it out for them, but America. I mean, in general. And the last one we shared this last year was one of the trees that we shared, 801, which is Red Bluff Roundup. It's got a unique history. It's amazing. My youngest, we're running around here right now, she ate a pail full of them by herself. It is by far her favorite one. We did a tasting of it last year in Winters, California for the summer Northern California Fig get together, and it was a popular one along with Citron. It was just it needs to be shared. These are, so you asked what my favorite are. Our family's favorite, I should say, which the boss, Citron, is by far, because it's just big, juicy fruit that shouldn't exist with the coloration. It tastes Citron.
It's a very light berry, but like it gets this really nice citrus note at the end. And that citrus flavor is a lot more concentrated around the ostial of the fig.
Which means the eye. You know, these. And 801, it's a family favorite. So Red Bluff Roundup. Doesn't have a very unique name, but hey, it's the history behind that is pretty cool.
It's really cool, yeah.
Then Zoe Star, and of course, Corazon de Bahia. I mean, that is just this year, even though we've had it, we've been growing it for a while. This year to taste perfectly ripe figs off the mother tree, it just blows me away. It needs to be shared.
Those are fantastic stories. And I want to make sure also that I know there's behind most of these figs and the Fig Hunter numbers that we just shared there's 1,600 of them now. A lot of these stories, people that are watching this can learn more about them by following you on your Facebook, on your Instagram. And I would say almost most importantly, I mean, you're watching us here on YouTube. And again, I'm putting that link down below. I just saw that the Fig Hunter is right now, in the 800s, approaching 900, and we need to get him to 1,000 as soon as possible so that he can also monetize his YouTube channel as well. So please give him that support. If there's nothing to do by the time you finish watching this video, be sure to subscribe and hit that push bell notification for the Fig Hunter so you can follow the Fig Hunter journey and join those 800 plus subscribers and get them to 1,000 as soon as possible so we can get to that next level of growth on the Fig Hunter YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this educational lesson brought to you by Ivory Organics, be sure to give us that thumbs up and most importantly, share us with your gardening friends and family. And as always, keep growing with Ivory Organics and wishing you all happy gardening. But most importantly, I know the Burke Family Farm also has a motto and a saying. And how does that go, David?
All right, find a fig, you make a friend. You plant that fig, you make a friend forever. We're all about making new friends. Please be one of ours.
For sure. And I'm actually going to put that when we got the entire Burke family together last year here at my backyard orchard. And I'm going to share that with the viewers as well. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah. Find a fig, make a friend. Find a fig, make a friend.
Plant a fig, make a friend forever. I love that.
Plant a fig, make a friend forever.